tragedy of my life is that as of now, I have like 2 H1B slots. A lottery happened for me. My lottery didn't got picked up. So now I am only left with one lottery attempt. Now consider a situation where I only have one lottery attempt and I got laid off. So now the next company will be a little apprehensive that why should we hire you? You only have one lottery attempt. Though there are ways out. Like for example, day zero CPT is something which is a way out. You can still work for another 2 years by doing a day zero CPT, or you can move to Canada and work there. So there's a lot of way out. Anyone who is thinking that if I'm going to the US and my slots are over, I cannot live there, that is not true. There are a lot of hacks which you can apply and you can live happily there. But again, you have to be a little open and you have to wait. So you can see, if you imagine 5 years window, you will be good in your life, even if layoff happens, because there's a proper structure for everything. And I think that's why anyone coming from any background end up making a living in the US.
That's a very good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Because you can't control the external environment.
Yeah.
The layoffs are happening.
Yeah.
The real question is, how do you deal with them?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to especially incoming students or even viewers who, let's say, are currently working?
Yeah.
That, considering that there is an environment of layoffs,
Yeah.
you may get impacted. The possibility is there. What can folks do to better prepare themselves, both from a skill point of view and maybe from a networking point of view?
I think the most aspect of surviving in the US, living in the US, having a great repo in the company that you want to work for, communications and problem solving. Now, problem solving is something which can differ for a guy who has a great aptitude while he was preparing for IIT versus a guy who was good for nothing and got failed in 11. So he can struggle in problem solving maybe a little bit, but communication is something which can really set you apart. Like the friend which I was talking about, who is working as a product manager in Walmart, he is no greater than me in terms of academics, but his communication still sets him apart, and which sort of makes us feel that he is a next league guy. So communication is the most important aspect which I've seen. If I leave aside the technology front things, because that is a whole another conversation. I think being agile, don't see everything from a short-term window. What has happened to you has happened to 99% of the folks. So we're very happy about it, that I'm not the alone guy who's happened with it. And in terms of how we can be prepared, I think until you have 2,000 guys that you are in connection with or following on LinkedIn, based out of US, don't stop sending connection requests or follow requests to relevant folks on LinkedIn. Just keep on sending them, because then your LinkedIn algorithm will be prepared and they will be showing you the same thing that you want to see regarding jobs, regarding layoffs, right? Because sometimes maybe you are working but layoff has happened. So you got lucky and your number can be next. But in a long-term window of 5 years, nothing matters.
You mentioned ways that from a technical visa regulations point of view, Indian students can deal with getting laid off. And also deal with sort of not going through the H1B lottery. And one of the solutions you mentioned was day zero CPT. I just want to double click on that. If you can elaborate that a little bit for our viewers. What does that mean?
So for example, let's just assume that the structure of H1B lottery is that you apply by first week of January. Like your employer applies for you. So you have to fill a form and then you send it to employer. Your employer hires a third party lawyer which files for you, and then you get a reward by April mid that you have lottery has been picked or not. If your lottery has been picked, then you will have your stamping in your country in the same year. If not, and then for example, that was my last attempt. So and I'm working. So for us to work, we have a work authorization, which is the end date. So like in that case, for example, my last date was 30th of May. So now my H1B has not been picked and I only have 45 days to get my next workday permit. So for that, what we can do is we can offer a 0-day CPT. So now what 0-day CPT is, most of the universities offer 0-day CPT where you enroll in another master's. But this is not a typical master where you will end up spending another $70,000. You will be spending like $24,000 to $30,000 because you are earning. You can easily manage that, and now you can get a loan in the US as well. Loan in the US is very easy, as you know. Very, very easy to get a loan in the US. Even Amex will just give you that, I need $20,000. Amex will be like, okay, take it. We don't need any further approval from you. The moment you have your 0 day CPT, from that university, you will get a work authorization letter in the form of CPT for the next 2 years. Now, in the next 2 years, your organization can again file for H1B. If that is quick, that is fine. If not, then your next attempt. Now, let us assume that even for those 5 attempts, your H1B wasn't picked. Then there are 2 ways. If that company is very big, for example, if it's Adobe, so then Adobe will send you back in India. They will apply for L1 visa and then they will bring you back. If not, then you can apply for a PhD.
Yeah.
You can go for a non-resident program. And then because of your 5 years in the US, you will be able to pay the starting fees. And most of the PhD students become scholars. So you end up living in the university apartments as well at less money. And for the next 5 years, you are again sorted, depending on the PhD that you're opting to. Other than that, there is another hack which one can use. That is not the most sought after way, but a lot of people who don't get a job, they do it in the US. And which is essentially, there's a lot of contractors based out of Hyderabad in the US. So what they will do is, if I am laid off today, I have 90 days to get a job. So what they will do is, they will give me an offer letter.
Yeah.
And they will, so that I can freeze that job 90 days window. Parallelly, they will look for projects for me. If I'm able to get a project through them, that is fine. I will work through contractor. Else, I can parallelly apply on my behalf and get a job. The only demerit is that if you get stuck in a contractor company, then you are stuck.
Yeah.
For more than you can think of.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to move from a contractor role to a
full-time. It's kind of your last option.
Yeah. But a lot of folks are using this right now because the market is not great for this funding cycle, I think.